Hello, this is David Abingdon and welcome to section 2, the fast track. Now, this is the one that I hope that you've been eagerly awaiting for because this is where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. And we're going to be going through this over a series of videos in this section, plus a whole host of resources for you. Now, talking of which, it'd be a great idea if you pause the video right now and download the roadmap. If you haven't done that already, please pause now and go get it. Okay, I'm assuming that you've just done that or you've got it in front of you anyway. So let's get into it. Okay, now this is all about taking action. We want to get you off to a flying start, and you're going to see here a fairly quick, simple, and easy step-by-step process for doing just that. And as I said, the materials are all here. They're in the resource section. There's loads of them for you to really get your teeth into. But of course, what this is all about is getting you out there and getting you some quick wins so that you can see just how good this is. We're going to be covering a host of different things. We're going to be looking at some client generation to get some business owners to put their hands up to say they're interested. Going to show you a fast method to then get in front of those business owners and practicing your skills so that you can test out the methods, hopefully sign them up as clients and really get going, get started. What this is not, this isn't a replacement for the Talisman Business Acceleration System. That's the big one that's coming. That's the one in the binders, and that's the one that we've got a whole section devoted to give you the intricacies, to give you the detail, and to show you how it works and how you in turn can teach it to your clients. It's also not a replacement for the client generation systems that you're going to see later on. What we're going to be talking about in this section is relationship client generation, and you'll see what I mean when we get on to it. Also, this is not a detailed process. As I said, it's fairly simple, it's fairly easy, so you shouldn't have any difficulty really getting to grips with it. And dare I say, I don't think this is going to make you millions, but you never know. It's the people that you get introduced to and the relationship that you build with them that really makes the difference. And that's going to come out. It's going to come out loud and clear later on in the program. But look, it'll get you out there. It'll get you in front of prospects. It'll get you helping them. And as I said before, it's going to give you some quick wins. Now, as I've said here, you can see, download the roadmap. Hopefully you've done that. And the roadmap is a 6-step process. It's the fast track process. And all of these steps are supported by all of the resource materials that you'll find in that section. And all you've got to do is follow the steps. And honestly, you must follow the steps. What we do has been proven and time tested over and over again. And I've noticed throughout the years that those people that don't make it, those people that come back and say it's not working for me or whatever, it's always because of something that they're not doing. So please follow the steps, all of them. So let's get into it. Let's look at what we're going to be getting into detail with as we move through this section. Step 1 is all about relationship client generation. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I mean where you're forming relationships or you already have relationships with prospective clients, centers of influence, business people, friends that know people that could help you or be interested in your services. Now, let me make it very clear. This isn't Amway. We're not trying to sell all our friends and relatives. That's not what this is about. But it is about giving you some quick wins. And some of those quick wins are the easy wins as well. So we're going to be looking at networking. We've got something here for you called the Business Network 100. Now, again, you need to download this document and complete it. Read the introductory remarks, look at the teasers and the steps in there, and then do it. Just do it. Number 3, we're going to look at affinities. This is a tremendous way of getting in front of people that can really help you to move your business along very quickly. And indeed, as you'll see when we talk about affinities, if you do some of these, you'll never need to do anything else. Number 4 is referrals. Very quick way to get going. But look, I don't want to steal my thunder. We'll get onto that a little bit later. And personal networking. So most of these are related, but it is, as I said before, and I can't emphasize this enough, this is a very quick and easy way of getting in front of people. It's not those wham bam, unique, sophisticated client generation methods that we're going to show you later on in a separate section. Some of those are really quite mind-blowing and you're going to love them. But this, as I said, is the fast track. We want to get you out there, get you in front of people, and this is the way to do it swiftly. Step 2, position. From step 1, we've got business owners to put their hands up, and now we need to find out how interested are they. We want to sort out the wheat from the chaff. We want to be talking to those that are hot rather than those that are not. And the best, quickest, simplest way of doing that is to use the qualifying questionnaire. Now, we gave this away, if you'll remember, in one of the videos on the free series. We're going to look at that in some depth now, in some detail. I'm going to show you how to use that in order to only talk to people that really want to talk to you. So you're not wasting your time with time wasters. Now from that, we're going to make the appointment, and having made the appointment, we'll then send them an email. And again, the resources are there for doing that. Step 3 is the meeting itself. So we've made the appointment, now we need to go along. So there's an introduction to all of this. And what I mean by that is when we walk in the door, we don't just go straight into the business of pitching them. There's a bit that comes before that. We're going to discuss that. Also, we're going to look at how we use the qualifying questionnaire in the meeting, and that's really sitting there in a consultative way and discussing their responses to the questionnaire. If necessary, we're going to use a presentation or an orientation, as we call it. This is a PowerPoint that you can put onto your laptop or your iPad or other device and take them through what it is that we do. This is a kind of a rolling out your credentials, so to speak. And in this, there's a very natural and easy close. So I'll show you how to do that as well. We have a letter of agreement. So if they're ready and prepared to move ahead, and you're going to sort that one out real quick, then you pull out the agreement and it's there. And this is all laid out for you. No need to reinvent the wheel here. We've got a contract, an agreement for you. Number 5, consolidate it and then make what we call the audit appointment. And that's going to be the very first session that you then hold with them after they've signed up. Step 4, research. And as I just said, this is the first meeting that you're going to hold. This is all about going in and finding out as much as you can about the business. But of course, before you do that, as you can see on here, number 1 is investigate. You want to be finding out as much as you can about the business before you go in and have that initial client meeting with them, what we call the CBA meeting. And this is where, in your investigations, you want to be looking at their website, be checking out their competitors. This doesn't mean you have to go around and physically go into the premises of these competitors, but moreover, just find out about them in general. Have a look on the web for them. Check out their websites as well as your own clients' websites. You also want to be looking at your clients' marketing materials, the things they do, and if you can gather any local knowledge about them as well, people that use them, have used them, what they feel or think about them. You might even have knowledge of them to yourself, which is going to help. You're then going to go in and do the meeting, the CBA, the confidential business analysis meeting. Now, you're going to be telling them that this meeting goes for 2 to 3 hours. Now, don't worry, we're going to be repeating what I'm saying now a little bit later in this section because it's very important. We're going to go into more detail. But the benefits of the audit are really threefold. Number one, it's going to give you a deep insight into that business. You're going to understand a lot more how it functions, how it operates, and what its issues, problems, and challenges are. I guess more importantly, you're going to get an overview of it so that you can see how to solve those issues, problems, and challenges. In doing this, because you're going to be asking some very deep and some very intelligent questions, there's no doubt that the rapport that builds between you and your new client is going to really generate a lot more trust and confidence in your abilities to solve those problems. And indeed, your credibility is going to rise as well. But it has a knock-on effect to the client themselves, because they're going to get a lot of wows, a lot of oohs, and they're going to be able to connect the dots, and you'll see the light go on with them as you go through this meeting, as you go through the questionnaire. And that's because they're going to connect questions together. They're going to join the dots, so to speak, where a question that you asked earlier will suddenly make sense because of a question you're asking now, and that's when they get these ooh-ah moments. They're going to see things about their business that they really didn't understand or didn't see before. And your value again shines through as a result of that. There's also one other funny side effect of all of this as well, and that is that they can become quite embarrassed at times, because about 20-25% of the questions they just can't answer, and yet they know that they should be able to answer them. And so it's a little bit sort of embarrassing to be there with you, this professional, and them not being able to answer the questions the way that they should. So that's step 4. Step 5, the action plan. And this is where you're going to take away all of that investigative knowledge, that research, all the stuff that you got from the audit and their materials and the things that you've looked into, and you're going to put it into a plan. And you're going to be ready to do this. You're going to be ready to lay out the solutions to their problems in this implementation plan. Again, the resource for this is in the resources section, and we'll talk about how you go about doing it a little bit later. But it's important to realize that you're going to be in a unique position. You're going to be able to see things in that business that business owner just doesn't see. And that's because you're coming at it from an objective point of view. You're seeing it with fresh eyes. You've got the all-important kind of helicopter view of everything. And so putting together this implementation plan with the tools that we're going to give you, as you'll see, isn't going to be that difficult. And so you're going to be going back then, number 2 on here, to discuss it with them. Look at your findings, look at the solutions and and what you are proposing to do. And then the next move is to implement those strategies, having got the nod from them. And finally, step 6, management. Now, by that, what we mean is managing the client, managing the relationship, managing the process of developing and building their business, and dare I say, managing yourself as well, because you've got to be very disciplined in this business. You've got to be there for them. You've got to be seen to be there, which probably is more important. Now, there's not going to be any chance of you not doing that in the first 3 months anyway, because it's a very intense period. That's when you're going to be assisting them in implementing the solutions that you've come up with. And after that, you want to ensure that you go to see them at least weekly and discuss progress and where the business is going, to make sure it's on track. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And of course, as always, there's resources there for you in the section just for doing this. Okay, so that's the roadmap. Just a quick look as well at some of the other resources and the tools that you're going to use in the fast track process. For instance, there is in the resource section something called the Relationship Client Generation Guide. You want to be downloading that. In fact, you want to be downloading all of these and perhaps even printing them out. The qualifying questionnaire, we're going to be looking at these things. There's an appointment confirmation letter, which can also be used as an email. You have the meeting presentation, and this is a PowerPoint that you can use at the first meeting with the prospect to kind of roll out who you are, what it is we can do. It's your bona fides, your credentials, your credibility, if you will, and it'll certainly build your professional image as well. If the meeting is successful, then you're going to want to bring out a legal agreement of some sort. And so we've got one of those for you. Again, we'll look at the detail of that later on. There's also the Fast Track Manual, and this goes through step by step the consulting processes that you need to follow in order to complete the implementation plan, which is a document for you as well. And that document, by the way, the implementation plan, is a Word document, and it'll expand as required on your screen so that you can make it look really nice and sharp and professional. And finally, the progress report, which is what we use in Step 6 management. We'll talk about that later on. There's also, and I'm sure you've been waiting for these, the program bonuses. That is the Marketing Strategies Encyclopedia, the Confidential Business Audit, which we've already spoken about, and the Business Growth Calculator. Now, you're going to be knocked out by these. I know you will. Everybody is. And I think you'll see that those alone are kind of worth the cost of this whole program. Okay, so that's the overview. That's what we've got lined up. And in the next video, we're going to look at step 1 in a lot more detail. I'll see you then.